Hello, everyone. About, I don't know how long ago it was actually. Let's say a year ago, probably a bit more than that at this point. I made a no SSU tutorial. It was made essentially for beginners, and it took off really well. And a lot of people have found it really useful and thanked me here and there. Shout outs to me for helping them learn the game and everything. But since then, quite a lot of stuff has changed. New strats have been found, and even though I made a part two to kind of rectify a lot of the mistakes, a lot of people still just check part one to learn the game, and I'm not really happy with with the way that turned out. There's a lot of editing mistakes, and things that I left out in that video, so I want to kind of invalidate both part one and part two of that guide, and just put it into one fully comprehensible beginner's tutorial with no fuck ups and just showing you how it is, explaining everything I can. And then even if I forget something in the video, I won't be a dumbass like last time and forget to put it in the video and then upload it or something stupid like that. So yeah, this is going to be like essentially a remastered edition, so to speak. So before we get into the game, a couple of things that you're going to need. One of them is the Japanese edition of the game. As you can see right now, all the text is in Japanese. It might be fairly hard to navigate the menus when you're beginning, but you can kind of... What I always did when I was learning the game was use like a numeric system. We'll go into that in a second. But if you don't know how to get the Japanese version of the game, all you need to start with is just a copy of the game. Whether that be retail, a disc, or the Steam version, for example, that works fine. And you can convert that copy or another copy if you want to have both at the same time into the Japanese version. Our guy Zoton2 made a converter, which I will leave a link to in the description. And there's a README that explains exactly how to do everything. It's as simple as just running it as admin, copying the files in and running the bat file. Simple as that. Really easy to do. And then you'll have the Japanese version ready to go. One thing to quickly mention about the Japanese version is that the settings files and the saves aren't compatible. So if you're using the international version and you want to switch over, you'll need to either convert your settings file, which can be done with like another converter, which if I remember I'll link. I don't use it personally, so I might forget that, but just scream at me if I forget. Or you can just simply make a new one and then save that somewhere as like a backup. Like personally, I have a folder that's got all my settings files and stuff for all the different versions. That's the way I recommend doing it rather than using like extra converters when it's not necessary. But yeah, so same with the saves. I'll have a backup on my website, which is also where you'll find a Japanese converter of everything you need. So for example, they'll have saves for every mission, Japanese version, settings files that you can use that have my controls, which are like kind of like universally used, minus a few things. So you could just use my settings file and then change whatever you think is necessary. Up to you. So the next thing you'll need to set up is a few key bindings. Now, in order to get to the key bindings, as you can see, it's kind of difficult to like know where to go in the menu. But just know that this is the main menu screen. Like as soon as you boot up, this is what will happen. The first one is starting a new game. Like this is new game, this is load game, and this is, I don't know, delete game. Yeah, delete save. And then the second one is options. So this is your options. And then in order to get to the keybinds, it's the top one and then the second one. So from the main menu, which is as soon as you start the game, it's 2, 1, 2. And that puts you into the key bindings. So as you can see, a couple of like the mouse buttons and stuff, for example, are in Japanese, which is kind of annoying, but a lot of them are in English. So binds are mostly preference, but the only thing you need to set is this one here, which is your action key, which for example you use to buy properties, answer phone calls, things like that. You need to set this to be the same as your radio change button. Your radio change button is this one here. So for example, I've got mine set to caps lock and caps lock. So whenever I press caps lock, I can then use that to hold phone calls. If you're going to ask why radio change and why action, it's something to do with the console controls, I think. It's, yeah, something to do with that. But yeah, so you need to set those to the same key in order to hold phone calls. Another thing you should set, but it isn't entirely, like, I don't know how to say it. What's the word I'm looking for? It isn't mandatory, but it will help you in like the long run. Is also setting your look behind key to your submission key. So submission, I believe, is this one. Yep, I've got it set to middle mouse right now in the car. And then also look behind here, which is set to middle mouse, is look behind. So that'll be useful to hold things like taxi, the submission. You'll be able to hold it, like, so even if you get out of the car, you'll still have taxi running. That may not sound useful, but trust me, it is. You don't necessarily need it for this category, but there are a couple of optimizations you can do with this. So I'd recommend just setting it now and then you're done with it. But everything else is pretty much preference. Just make sure that you have these to the same key and these to the same key. So, with those keybinds out of the way and everything, let's start a new game. In order to do that from the main menu, you just select the first option twice. And the timing starts, as you'll see, once the splash screen disappears. So, once that, the one with Vice City and all the characters on it, when that disappears, that's when the timing starts.
Go get some sleep. What are you gonna do?
So a couple of things to mention. I'm gonna do this first section quick, because there is actually a strat involved. But after that, I will then stop and kind of explain a couple of things as we go along. So you want to, when you start off, we're just gonna be driving to the Ocean Beach Hotel, but you want to get there within a certain time period. The exact numbers I forget, but you want to get there in the low 40s, you want to enter. So for example, here, 42 entry is fine. And as you might have noticed if you play this game casually, I just skipped a set of cutscenes. So usually, there would be a, here, there would be like a cutscene like this, where you look up at the hotel, and there would be a cutscene at a save marker, that would like teach you that you can save your game and everything. But we just skipped that. So make sure that you go in at the low 40s. I forget when the cutoff is, but just know that early 40s is fine. I think it might be like 45, but don't take me up on that. So the other thing that I did was I was tapping Shift is my key. If you're unsure of what buttons I'm pressing at any time, just look at the top left, and as you can see, there is keybinds. So whenever I tap stuff, you'll see what I'm pressing. Nice roller skater just getting knocked into the lamppost there. So another thing that I'm doing is instead of holding Shift in order to sprint, left Shift, which is my sprint key, I'm tapping it on a rhythm. If you tap it at a fairly steady rhythm like this, Tommy will be able to sprint for much longer than usual, and that will help us a lot in certain strats. So speaking of strats, the next strat we're going to do is we are going to go over here, and we're going to make a replay over this rampage. In order to make a replay, this first one is very important, because if you don't do it in this way, your run will be considered New Game Plus. So you need to first press F2, which saves a replay. And then now when you press F3, it's saved a replay of what you were doing. If you were to just press F3 during an attempt, then it would play a replay that you saved in a previous playthrough, and that would be like New Game Plus. So the reason we need to make a replay is because replays in this game are very broken, and you can pick up items remotely, for example, rampages. Now that may not seem useful because it's any percent. Why would you want to use rampages? Like, surely that's like a 100% thing, right? But if I make a replay over this by pressing F2 and then F3, F3, F2, I now have a replay when I press F3 of me just standing over the rampage, okay? So again, that may not seem useful, but rampages in this game toggle a thing called the on-mission variable. Now the on-mission variable is simply a state in the game, a boolean, that checks whether you're on a mission or in free roam mode. So right now, we are on a mission because we're on a rampage. A lot of things trigger that on-mission variable. Missions obviously do, but also rampages, phone calls, submissions like fire truck, vigilante, they all trigger the variable. So we're going to be abusing that a lot in order to start several things at the same time. For example, maybe a rampage and a mission in this case, in order to duplicate missions and mess around with the on-mission variable a lot, and that will allow us to do some really crazy skips later on. So yeah, if you were to just normally do this in a run, I'll kind of show this since I need to be kind of on time here. So you would just come along here, and then you can just hop off the bike, and then make a replay here. So, because, as I say, it's kind of time restrictive, this next section, I'll wait for the rampage to reappear, and then I'll make a replay over it as you would. So the rampage runs out, so you would run here, make a quick replay over it, and then kill yourself. You also want to make sure that you run away from the rampage and die in a different place, because otherwise once you die, you'll pick up the rampage again, which isn't what you want. So you want a death warp, because that puts us right next to an ambulance, and the ambulance is used in order, as I said before, to start the ambulance submission, or paramedic it's called, and that will allow you to manipulate the on-mission variable with the replay you just picked up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hold middle mouse button, which is my paramedic key, as you can see here, I'm turning it on and off, and I'm going to hold it, I'm going to press F3, which puts me on the rampage, then I'm going to let go and get out. And what that has done is it's given me an on mission 0 rampage, so I can start the party even though I'm on a rampage. So I held onto paramedic, I started the rampage, then I failed paramedic by getting out of the ambulance, and that put me back on mission 0 with the rampage running. So the rest of this mission is fairly self-explanatory. Make sure to drive into that wall rather than bailing off like some people do, because that will stop you from kind of getting glitched where Tommy will try and re-enter the bike even though it isn't there, and that'll cost you a few seconds. So the rest of this, as I said, is just kind of like optimizing movement. Don't go too fast over there because you can bail. And then if you want to be super speedy, you can hop off the bike and then punch, which will kind of cancel the animation of diving off. But as I say, that's all entirely kind of advanced strats. So one thing to mention while we're taking Mercedes back to the club is when you're in a vehicle, you skip cutscenes with accelerate, which is W if you're playing on keyboard and mouse. For some odd reason, again, it's a console control thing, but if you're on foot, then you skip them with sprint. So just keep that in mind. So now I'm pressing W to skip the cutscene instead of sprint like I did when I started the mission, and that's because I'm in a vehicle, I'm on the PCJ. Also, another thing I'm doing is I'm mashing right mouse button, which is my lean forward key, and if you do that like a lot when you're riding, you will gain a lot more speed compared to usual. So I'm going to bail out here, we can grind the bike against the wall and start back alley brawl. It's very important that you start back alley brawl before the rampage runs out, because you need to get into this mission before going on mission 0. Because we need to restart the rampage again. So the rampage should run out anytime from here to the Malibu Club. If you're super fast, you can get into the Malibu Club before the rampage runs out. And that will allow you to skip having to do what we're going to do here in a second. Whoops. That was entirely my fault. Pay attention on the road, kids. But yeah, so if you don't quite make it to the Malibu Club in time, it's not a big deal. All you have to do is exit the Malibu Club twice for some reason. So we're going to spawn into the Malibu Club, we're going to exit, and then we're going to exit again. That's the whole difference. It's a very small optimization. So now there are two different weapons you have the option to get for this next section. One of them is the shotgun. I would recommend getting this because it's just on the way now, so you don't forget it later. And you simply just grab it, and then that will give you, what, like 16 shells or whatever? I didn't quite see. But more than enough to do this next section of the game. And now we're going to run over the chef. You can just bail off the bike and kill him immediately. And then pick up this phone. If you want to be super advanced, then you can... basically, you want to start this rampage as early as possible, right? In order to end it as fast as possible and do the next dupe as quickly as possible. For a beginner, I wouldn't recommend doing this, but you can activate the rampage as you pick up the phone. And you'll see that in a lot of like world record videos. That's especially useful when doing a cop car start, which is kind of an RNG way of saving a bit of time early on. But I wouldn't recommend doing that. So any time here is fine for starting the rampage. So you need to press F3 again to restart it. And now we need to complete this mission, which is just driving to the ammunition and back. and then get back and start the next mission before the rampage runs out. So again, you're on a timer. The reason we want to chain all these rampages together is because the next mission is Jury Fury, where you have to go and damage 2 jurors' cars. If you dupe this mission, so starting 2 instances of it, which is what we're going to do, we are going to spawn 2 sets of cars on top of each other, and then the second set of cars are going to flip and damage themselves, and then that's going to basically allow us to pass the mission instantly, without even having to do it. So another thing to mention here is if you were quick like I was right at the start, you will see another cutscene here play. That's the original cutscene that you're supposed to see. And because that cutscene kind of started and ended inside the second cutscene, it gave us control. Now obviously again, not gaining control is not a big deal. As long as you make it to this section quickly, it's fine. If you don't get a car like I did in the cutscene as well that you can steal while you have control, then you can just grab, for example, like a parked car that's usually there on the road. So we want to take this phone call. If you're too slow, like 23 seconds or less on the rampage timer, you can go into a replay like this and it will stop the rampage timer from progressing, but you will be able to play the dialogue lines like this. So do you see the rampage timer is not going down? That's a nice backup in case you're slightly too slow to make this. But what you want to do here is enter this marker. It's a reference. What actually matters is when you skip the cutscene, but just go with this for a reference for now. So enter the marker at 3, 5, or 7 seconds. I'm going to do it at 3. And then just skip the cutscene as quickly as you can. And then you'll enter another instance, skip that cutscene too, and now you have 2 instances of Jury Fury running. And now we just need to hop, watch for the camera resetting, hop on the bike, and just wait. And that's mission passed.
Remember, innocent until I say otherwise.
So now we can just continue on. It teleports us, and we just go back to Riot. Right here, if you don't get the shotgun, oops, you can get the Uzi here. It's completely preference. Neither is faster than the other. So there's the Uzi here that you can get. It's completely up to you which one you get, but I would recommend the shotgun. But there are benefits to both. So if not, you can skip the Uzi if you already have the shotgun, or skip the shotgun if you already have the Uzi, and just come along here. Usually you wouldn't get this phone call to ring because you wouldn't be, you know, explaining stuff, but yeah. If your phone does ring, and you want to cancel it, just do what I did there, which is like fake getting into a vehicle by pressing F, and then just cancelling that with movement keys, and that will cancel the phone call. So now we just head on, make sure to keep mashing leaning forward, and we just hop off here, park your bike next to the barrel, and then shoot this here. You can also reload quickly by playing a replay, and then just shoot both of these. If you're using the shotgun, you can instead fire faster by shooting and then crouching. So shoot, crouch, 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 while just holding left mouse. It's faster than slowly shooting like this, as you can see. And then once you pass the mission, just shoot this and kill yourself. And this will put you back to the near the hospital, which is where we want to go in order to go and meet Cortez, who is our next mission. We just want to run here, and when you get to about here in front of me, you'll get a phone call. Mine might be a bit off-timed because I cancelled it. Yeah, it's a bit late, but that's fine. So just take it and head towards the PTJ.
This is Cortez. You were at my party?
Yeah, I remember.
So yeah, a quick thing, as I mentioned before, you can use what we call a cop car start that you'll see in a lot of world record videos in order to get, like, I think it saves about 15-20 seconds on the starting section.
Okay. Good day, senor.
But it's entirely random because you need to get lucky by getting a cop car. So I will show that, but just don't worry about it if you're a beginner, because as I say, it's only slightly faster and it requires getting very lucky. So unless you're going for like insanely good times, like 50 minutes, then don't bother with it. So Treacherous Swine, we're going to kind of go the opposite way that you usually would be going, because we're going to make another replay. This time it's going to be over a gun that is going to spawn once we start Guardian Angels. Because, again, as I mentioned before, you can pick up, like, almost any physical, like, entity in a, any pickup within a replay. So we're able to pick up that gun and it'll teleport us later on. So go to about here, and then make the replay, F2, F3, F3, F2. And then we're going to do a cool little garage exit here, just lean backwards as you hit the wall, and you can climb out quickly. And then head towards Gonzalez. Another thing you can do here, which I'm not a huge fan of because of the, like, my weird keybinds that kind of don't allow me to do it. But if you hold looking backwards, or the combination of looking left and right, which for me is Q and E, you can obviously look backwards in a vehicle. And as long as you're going a certain speed, traffic doesn't spawn in front of you as long as you're looking behind or to the side. So that will allow you to basically drive down that road without having to deal with traffic. So we're going to be quick here, and we're just going to run and chainsaw Gonzalez before he gets away. Also, something to mention, in that last marker, be sure not to sprint into it. Don't sprint into a lot of markers, because it can screw you over. So now we're going to grab this cop bribe, and we're not going to go to the pay and spray. Once we get that cop bribe, we're basically on a timer. As long as we don't commit any crimes, we will eventually lose our wanted level and the mission will pass. So just try not to commit any crimes and just head back towards Cortez. So that's it, mission passed. It's usually around here. Even if you do commit a small crime, like bonking someone with your bike, it'll usually run out just as you get to the, just as you get back to the boat. So we're going to take this route here. It's kind of sketchy, so be careful when you're being a beginner. Don't take it too fast, otherwise you'll plummet into the ocean. This is the fastest way to get back to Cortez. It's just kind of sketch. And I went to go and cancel a phone call there again, but I got a wanted level, so I don't have a phone call. Because calls don't come in if you have a wanted level. And then more shootout is fairly self-explanatory. We just need to kill the guy before he gets onto the bike, and we skip a chase sequence. It's really easy to do by doing a thing called fall cancelling. Essentially, fall cancelling is when you drop off a ledge instead of jumping, you can cancel the fall by pressing your jump key again, which for me is space. So I'll show it here now. Also remember again not to sprint into the marker. So drop off this ledge, then press space, and you can cancel the fall. And then just bring out the chainsaw and kill this guy. Ideally, if your bike is in a good position, like here somewhere, you can grab it instead of grabbing one of the fixed spawns. But again, that's just a minor optimization. Head back the same way you came before. Again, be careful not to plummet in the ocean. And then, yeah, time to start Guardian Angels. Remember that replay we made before? This will be useful now. Start the mission. Hop on the bike. Make sure you're fully on the bike. And then press F3, and we will teleport. You don't actually grab the Kruger. So you have to get off and grab it again, excuse me, but it's not a big deal. Saves driving all the way here. Another kind of more tricky garage exit. This one you just need to make sure you're not going too fast, and you can bonk off like this. And then hop down here. And then here is a close icon. We're going to make another replay over this close icon. Because if you have a close replay, and you play it before a cutscene, you can gain control in the cutscene, which will allow us to do some really cool stuff later on. So now we're going to take Lance, and we're going to head towards the mission objective, which is where we kind of do a deal that goes wrong. And usually this mission would be an auto-scroller, but instead, there's kind of a small optimization that saves about 10 seconds called ammunition skip, which I'll be showing off. And essentially, you will fail this mission if you abandon the deal, okay? But as long as you're looking, like your camera is focused on the deal, you can go as far away as you want, and the game doesn't care.
Until more gainful opportunities arise. They'll be here any minute. We both better get a good.
So we're gonna first go into this marker.
I'll take the balcony, you get the roof across the yard.
And this is entirely optional, by the way. This is just like a kind of advanced strat to save 10 seconds. If you try it and you can't really get it consistently, then don't worry about it. But as soon as we gain control here, we're going to turn around. We're going to full cancel again as we did before. We're going to hop, and then as soon as we get to this tree, we're going to start jumping and turn around and make sure that you keep your camera focused at this location. You can use the map as reference if you're unsure. And then we're going to grab these grenades, which we'll use later. And then we're going to hop. And again, make sure your camera is focused the whole time. And then we're going to go and just kill these guys as you would. Try and grab as much ammo as you can. Ideally with the Uzi, because it's a really good weapon. Yeah, try and grab just enough ammo to, because we'll be using the Uzi a lot for the run. You can just chainsaw these guys. And then just collect ammo. Wait for this. Wait for this van to spawn. Again, you can reload quickly, remember, by double tapping the replay button. I didn't mean to right click there, that was my bad. And then we're going to do a setup here, which is, as I mentioned before, gaining control in the replay. Oh, in the cutscene, excuse me. So we're going to line up. We're going to put our finger over our F3 key. We're going to kill this guy. And then as we turn to shoot this guy, press F3, just like that. And then if all goes well, you can switch to the Uzi, which allows you to sprint, and you gain control in the cutscene. Run straight forward like this, and kill the guy inside the cutscene. That skips another chase sequence. And then we're going to do it again here, as we walk into the marker, press F3, and then hold A and D. And as he says you there, it's all down to you, then press F to get on the bike. And then as long as you drive away before the last dialogue line starts, it will play immediately. If you're kind of driving around and dicking around too much, nice stunt by the way, then the dialogue will be delayed, and that wastes a lot of time. So then head this way. This is going to be what we call gate zip. Essentially what you need to do is you need to hop into this, be sure to like hug the left part of the wall here. I'll show it a bit better. Let me give it a better lineup. Hug the left side of the wall like this, so Tommy's like arm is rubbing against it. Then hold W to get in, and then press F once your bike is fully vertical to get out. And what I essentially did was it, okay, so this whole section is quite a lot to it. But yeah, so what that essentially did was it put you in like a safe spot. You fell out of bounds, and the game has safe spots where it's like, oh, I don't know where to put you. So the safe spot when you go out of bounds here is right here. So as you can see, the gate opened once the call finished, but this allows you to get into Starfish Island before the call finishes. So, and then what I did after that was glitching a phone call. So what you can do is when a phone call comes in, if you press tab to take it, and then immediately hold right click, which is to aim, with any weapon you can aim with, so for example the Kruger. The Uzi doesn't work because right clicking does nothing. But if you, yeah, hold tab, and then hold right click as soon as you like take the phone call, and then let go, you can then glitch a phone call, which allows you to sprint and do whatever actions while you're taking the phone call. And then you can go to Diaz and start the chase, or pretty much as soon as the phone call finishes. So full cancel here again. Another thing to mention while we drive towards the next mission objective is that you could do a thing called glitching a car there. I'll go into that into more detail later on. What the hell is that guy doing? But yeah, it's possible to glitch a car there, which essentially gives you less traffic on the road. You're going to need a certain amount of glitched cars for the end game, so you can just do one there in the meantime while you're taking the call. Kind of a small optimization, but it's worth it to mention, you know, as we're going along. It's right here, just go this way. And hop out of here. You can buffer an F input to get out of vehicles and stuff in the cutscene like I did there. Just requires a bit of timing. And then we're going to heavily abuse the fact that we can sprint for long distances here. So make sure to keep tapping sprint at a steady pace. But you don't want to get too far ahead of this guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run into the wall for a little bit. Here. And then go now. And then once we overtake him here, we're going to hold our position here next to the lamppost. And then when his head appears, press F3. Steal the car in the replay. Wait for him to get in, drive away. Go up to the wall, get out, get back in again. And then as he gets in again, drive away. What that did was essentially, usually in this mission, you have a chase sequence, and the guy drives all around the map before finally going to Starfish Island, right? But what we did was we hijacked it in the cutscene by gaining control with the close replay. And then we blocked the driver door as we went to drive away, and that means that he couldn't hijack us, which is what he's usually trying to do. And then we got back out, got back in again, blocked against the second wall, and then as he went to hijack us again, then we blocked him from doing so, and he just hops in the passenger seat instead. If you're wondering why you need to like get back out and in again, then it's because when you steal the car in a replay and you don't get out, then sometimes the car will just stop moving as you're driving, and you'll lose control of it. Also, a thing to mention is if you go on the path that the AI takes, which you shouldn't do because it's slower, up here, say you steal it around here, I think, right? So if you go here and take this route, then you will lose control, and it will force you to sit and watch you as you drive all around here. So make sure to do the route I did, go here and go straight to the island there. Now, another reason why this trick is so good is because this car has a property called the heavy property. So the car has a lot of mass, so much mass that when we do this, we drive right through like the drowning barrier for the ocean and clip out of bounds. Now again, as I mentioned before, with the gate zip, the game doesn't know what to do with you, so it places you in a safe spot. This safe spot is on the other side of the like the barrier to stop you getting to the other island. So now, we're completely free to explore the second island. But we're not going to explore it for too long. Instead, we're just going to go here, and we're going to grab a helicopter which is spawned here. This is a really fast and nifty helicopter. You can also spin it around here, as you can see the inputs that I'm doing, which is just essentially the same as a Burnout in San Andreas, which is hold accelerate, brake, and then the directions. I'm going to fly back towards Diaz's mansion. But yeah, the reason we want this helicopter is because we're going to be doing a lot of missions where we're going from island to island. So the fastest way is to just fly straight over, rather than driving the long way across the bridge, etc. So you want to park this just behind the mansion on like a little grass patch. I'll show you where it is. And there is a reason for that, which I'll explain later. So yeah, this small grass patch is where you want to ideally be parking. Anywhere around there is fine. And then when it glitches phone call again, so hold tab, right click, let go. And then we're going to go and grab a sniper rifle. So this is part 2 of the ammunition skip. What you would usually do in old runs is buy grenades and a sniper rifle ammunition. But while we're taking the phone call, we don't lose any time just grabbing the sniper rifle now. So now we've got both the items we need without needing to go to the ammunition later on. But in case you don't want to do these strats, I'll still show you the ammunition strat as we go along. So, yet another benefit to close replays is that for some reason, on this mission and Supply and Demand and whatever other missions that you have like a gun like this, you see it's firing pretty slow, right? But it's extremely powerful. You can kill anyone in one hit with this. But if we press F3 to play our close replay, and then right click, we now have a gun that fires at 1 bullet per frame. So, as you can see, it's insanely fast. And that will allow us to speed up this mission tremendously. Rip those guys. So this mission is essentially an auto-scroller if you do it correctly. It's just optimizing how fast you kill the people. There's a couple of things to mention. One of the first things is that after you kill these guys, blow up these barrels. Because if you don't, there's a chance that you can get shot through the wall, and a barrel will kill you as you're ending the mission. Very rare, but it's one of those things where you'll be like, oh, I don't care about it, and then it'll happen to you, and you'll be like, why didn't I blow up those barrels? So pre-aim that car, wipe these guys, this guy. There's a guy here that you can shoot with the barrel. These 2 guys here, my aim is trash. And then 2 guys here as well. You can barely see them depending on where you are. So just kind of pre-fire their locations. Also, you can crouch so Tommy's fat head doesn't block you. So So here you can pre-aim the car, which will blow up the guy in the middle. Kill these guys. And then here, ideally you want to kill all 3 of these guys by pre-firing them through the trees. Before this cutscene starts. If you do, you can shoot Lance as soon as he starts his dialogue. And that will allow you to drop the helicopter much faster. And then be sure to be quick, because the helicopter can flip. And grab this briefcase as quickly as possible. Now, it is very important that you shoot Lance at the exact time that I did. You can be slightly earlier or slightly later, but if you're too late or too early, you will soft lock and you will just not be able to continue your run. It will die. So be very careful about that. It's only a small time save, so only do it if you've practiced it and you're absolutely confident. So the fastest boat, a nice little impossible trick you can do here is just grind against the wall and hold W and D, and you can hop over the wall. In rain it's more tricky, as you saw there. But, yeah. It's pretty easy on regular... My phone just went off. I've got a new phone as of yesterday. My phone just went off, but I don't have any notifications for some odd reason. Still trying to figure it out, you know, the new technology grind. So this is one of the cooler skips in my opinion, because it's so easy to do, yet it's like really mind-blowing if you're new to this game, or you've played it casually but you don't know the speed strats. As a quick thing to mention, I'll explain why later, make sure to drive into this cutscene, don't get out of the car beforehand. And then just hop here, and then just press F next to the gate. In this game, there are no entering animations for boats. There's just, if you're near it and press F, you'll warp into it. So you're actually close enough to the boat at that point to just warp straight into it without having to go and pull the lever and fight all the guys that you would usually have to. So yeah, the reason you want to drive into that cutscene is because you want certain vehicles to despawn. Again, I'll go into more detail for that later, but basically just know that there's only so many cars that you can drive before your helicopter, which you want to stay in your vehicles of interest list, will despawn. So Tommy can only have 2 personal vehicles in his list. The helicopter has to remain one of them, because otherwise it'll despawn. So here you can look for another glitched car. If you don't get one, it's not a problem.
Tommy, it's me, Colonel
Just take the
Cortez.
call.
Senor, I believe you are a man who can get things done. So please help me. You can find me at the boat, huh?
Let's start the next mission. This is another auto-scroller that you can use the close replay with, which is nice. But yeah, you absolutely want the helicopter to stay here. And you want it to stay all the way until the end of Copland. Which is about 15 minutes from now, also, in a run. So just keep that in mind. So there is a thing in this game called Mission Cleanup. And essentially when you beat a mission, it's going to despawn all of the assets to do with the mission. So if you use a vehicle for a mission, the game will then class it as a mission vehicle, and it will despawn once you complete the mission and run away from it. But Tommy's vehicles of interest list, or personal vehicle list as people call it, aren't affected by mission cleanup, as long as it is classed as Tommy's personal vehicle. So sometimes we'll have to re-enter the vehicle after a mission to make sure it doesn't despawn, but sometimes, like during the fastest boat, we want the vehicle to despawn. So we're going to drive into the cutscene, which then counts it as a mission vehicle, and then we want it to despawn. We'll do that again during bar brawl. So here this is just an auto-scroller. You can use F3 and then right-click to fire super fast. It's technically ever slightly slower, but it's fun, so who cares, right? Just blow up the boats, and then just chill. Say there's not really a whole lot going on here. Let's take a sip of my apple juice. Shoutouts to Asda. Good apple juice, good shit. So here, just shoot the barrels. You can just kill most of them, and then just kill the helicopter. Nice and easy. And then for this boat, don't kill the driver just yet. I'll blow up the boat. Just shoot the gunner. The reason for that is if you shoot the driver or blow up the boat now, Lance will then just drive into the boat because it's not moving anymore, and he can flip and kill you both. So don't put your life in Lance's hands. Just wait until he passes it, which doesn't lose any time. So like here he's driving alongside it, now you can just shoot him. You don't even need to shoot him, but you know, why not? So the reason we wanted our helicopter to be kind of close to the jetty on that grass patch is because we're going to do this, which is essentially once the nose of the boat catches up to the jetty, press F3, and then we're going to gain control in this cutscene. Then we're going to go, hold D, and then when you hear that sound, that's you getting into the helicopter in the cutscene. And now we can drive away and set up the helicopter before the cutscene ends. So we can do that all without losing any time in the cutscene, which is very nice. Then we're going to fly back to Cortez. He has a mission for us that we need to do. If you're fast enough here, you can skip the phone call coming in. Should be fast enough, I think. Yep, just about. If not, just cancel it with the helicopter. And then we can hop back in. And now we're going to go and make our first replay over the property icon. So as I mentioned before, again, to reiterate, in case you're kind of skipping through and you're missing parts or you're only practicing certain sections, you can make replays over anything that you can actually pick up in the game, including property buy icons, which means that you can buy icons, buy properties remotely. Not only that, but if you buy a property within a replay, you can not spend any money. So you don't need to grind money in this game. Like if you remember the old Anime K days, you would have to grind Cone Crazy to buy enough, to have enough money to buy all the buildings that you need. You don't need to do that anymore. It's completely redundant. So we're going to park our helicopter here. Be sure to not park it on the road, because there's a chance you can blow it up. Kill this guy. Hop in. You can chainsaw the door off for like minor optimizations, but who cares? And then you want to start shooting behind you with the turret. And that will allow you to basically push yourself forward and gain speed. So as you see, if you parked on the road, there's a chance that you could blow up your helicopter, which you don't want, because you want the helicopter. So now we're just going to drive to the end. Careful for the cops, you can sometimes get stuck on things, even in a tank. And then just drive on in. Hop out. And then mission passed. Now we're going to hop on and sprint. And we're going to glitch some cars. A lot of new runners glitch cars here. Don't do that. It is not smart. Because if you get a wanted level by shooting at cars near a police officer, you won't be able to take this call. And this call is one of the longest calls in the game. So it's very important that you take it. Instead, wait for it here at the lamppost. Take it now. And then start glitching cars. How you glitch cars is you shoot at it. And then once they're exiting, just double tap F1. Just like that. 2, 3. You can also glitch police cars. That's a little known fact that people don't know. You will gain a wanted level, but since you're already taking the call, it doesn't matter. But yeah. So the reason you want to do that, I would recommend as well having at least 3 or 4. 4 is optimal, 3 is minimum. Glitch cars, excuse me. And the reason you do that is because this game is from 2002, right? It can only have so many vehicles in memory at once. And when you play a replay to interrupt their exiting animation like that, the cars get stuck in memory completely. The reason that's important is because, as I mentioned before, the game only has so much memory to allocate to vehicle spawns. So now we have 4 glitched cars, there's going to be barely any traffic on the road. So that's really good, not only because it makes it easier to drive when there's no random traffic screwing you over, but also when police are supposed to spawn, they won't. So another call to take here to unlock Death Row.
Paul, I might have a little result for you, but I need to speak to you in person. I'm enjoying a little R&R at the club, man.
A thing to mention is that when you glitch cars, like we did there, don't enter them. It may seem like a good idea, or I can just hop in this car. Don't. If you do that, you will be stuck inside the car, and the only way to like get out of the soft lock will be to just drive it into the ocean and kill yourself. So yeah, don't do that. Don't enter glitch cars. You can, if you know what you're doing and you're a kind of advanced player at this point, block the driver's side door and glitch the passenger side instead, which will allow you to enter through the driver's side normally and not get stuck. But you don't use that in this category, so I'm not going to go through it. Just know, don't enter a glitched car unless you know what you're doing, basically. So this is another mission where the helicopter is going to be extremely useful. We're just going to hop in. And where you park here doesn't really matter, just make sure that you don't block the driver's side door by like going too close to a wall. Because if you do, the game can despawn the helicopter for whatever reason. So here you can just kill all these guys. And then kill this guy. This guy is the only guy that matters in order to trigger the cutscene. So if you want to be a ballsy bastard, you can just run all the way through here, chainsaw this guy, and then activate the Lance cutscene. It's pretty risky, but it saves time. So if you're a madman, you can do it. But I would recommend, as a beginner, just killing those guys, as I did. And then be sure here, instead of tapping sprint, make sure to hold it. And then kind of make sure that Lance is with you. If you hold shift, Lance will sprint after you. Whereas if you tap it, he won't. He will just kind of jog. It's very important that you want Lance to be with you at all times. Because he can get stuck, or get himself killed, or teleport out of bounds, or just really stupid shit. So be sure to hold sprint, whatever you do, whenever you need Lance to follow you. Or any follower, for that matter. So now here we're just going to hop to the hospital. And we're going to re-enter the helicopter, very important, after the mission. So again, as I mentioned before, because we've used this helicopter to transport Lance, the game now thinks it's a mission vehicle. So if we don't re-enter, and then go to rub out, as soon as we leave the helicopter and run away, it'll despawn. So make sure to get out and get back in again. And then drive towards rub out. A quick little small optimization you can do before rollout starts is doing a thing called sliding. Essentially all you do is you switch weapons and then play a replay really quickly after doing so. And that will allow you to then move in the fade of rub out, rather than being like stuck and then like waiting for the fade and then sprinting. It's a very small optimization, but you don't lose any time setting it up. So you can go for it and just practice it while you're taking a phone call here anyway. So I'll show you how to do it, assuming I don't goof it. So just park your heli. The rose bushes are a good reference if you don't know where to park, but anywhere kind of matters. So glitch this call, and then switch weapons, and then immediately play a replay like this. And then keep holding W, press F1, let go of W, and then press F1 again. That has now set it up, so I'm not pressing anything, but I'm still sliding. And that's what you need to do. And then just get into the marker. Again, just mash shift. You don't have to press anything because you're sliding the whole time until this cutscene goes. And now, as you can see, I'm sliding in the cutscene and the fade. Excuse me. So now, oops, you can just chainsaw this guy here and clip. If you want to be safe, you can kill this guy as well, because this clip is kind of annoying. Excuse me. But usually, unless you have like super low health, just chainsaw this guy. And then what you want to do is line up with like your left shoulder into the doorway, kind of like gate zip, and then just sprint into it like this. And if all goes well, you'll clip through. And then run up to Diaz, chainsaw him through the wall, and then head this way and activate the cutscene. And that's we're about done. That clip is bullshit. Sometimes you can sprint into the wall for 5 minutes straight and you won't clip through, but it's still way faster than doing intended strats. So hop out here and start shakedown. And then there's ammo here if you want it. It's about 250 rounds, or 300 or whatever it is, 350. You don't need it at this point, but if you used a lot of ammo for whatever reason, you can take it. And now we're going to fly to the mall, which is where you do basically all of this mission. Be careful, the trees around the golf course, they're pretty tall and can fuck you up. And be sure to park your helicopter just here, in the middle of the two entrances. And you want to keep this here until the end of Copland. Again, as I mentioned before, you want to be very careful with the amount of vehicles that you enter, otherwise that helicopter will despawn on Copland. If it does, then I'll show you a backup anyway. But ideally it shouldn't despawn. So again, remember, you can either switch weapons, like by scrolling and scrolling back to reload, or you can use the replay. Completely up to you. So if you did ammunition skip, you don't need to do this, but if you didn't, then you can just hop down here and buy the weapons that you didn't get during the auto-scrollers. So you can get armor if you want it, buy grenades, and then buy a sniper rifle as well. But you can skip this if you do ammunition skip. So bring out the grenades, hop over this section here, walk a few steps forward, look pretty much to where Tommy's head is at like the bottom of this planter, and throw as hard as you can. That will then blow up the... if you're too far right, then as you can see, you'll still have a marker. So just go a little further left. Again, throw as hard as you can. And then you'll blow them up. Take a few more steps forward, and then just beam this one as hard as you can. And that will blow up. Alright, caught the palm tree there. But there you go. That should blow them up. There you go. Yeah. Not a very clean showing of that, but don't worry. The reference isn't too tight, so yeah. And then you want to crouch here just before the escalator. And then kill these with the M4. The M4 has very long range, that's why you want to do this. Classic window RNG. The amount of bullets it takes for a window to be broken is random. The first one can never break it, but it's complete luck after that. It's about 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 chance of it being broken. So sometimes you can shoot a window for all day and it won't break. So once you've beaten this mission, hop in here, and then you want to press your hold call key, which for me is caps lock that we mentioned in the keybinds video. Try not to get busted as well while I'm trying to explain this. So press hold call, and then immediately press F3 right afterwards. And if you time it right, you will buy Cherry Popper's ice cream, which you made the replay for during Say Yes Sir. And this will again not cost you any money. And then you can just exit Cherry Poppers and go towards Bar Brawl. Now, if you have a wanted level, like I do, you won't be able to take this next phone call. I guess also to mention, you're in interior mode. The game still thinks you're in the mall because you never left. Just use the map to drive if you're unsure of where to go. And then park once you get to this this pill here. So usually you would take the call here, glitch it, and then hop onto the car and then run to the marker. But if you have a wanted level and you can't take the call, then just grab these clothes inside the mansion. Here we go. And then just take the call, like this.
Have I got a surprise for you? I'm down at recording studios with some major artists.
Mission starts here.
Why don't you pay us a visit? You know it makes sense, don't ya? See you later.
So now, make sure to re-enter the Infernus that you parked here. Don't grab a new one, because that will cause your helicopter to despawn. And then take this, what seems to be a kind of wacky route towards the mission marker, but trust me, it's the fastest way. This way, into the main street. As you can see, driving this is glorious with no traffic on the road. It's fantastic. So now we're going to use our grenades, which we picked up before, to set up for a snipe. This snipe is kind of tricky. There's a few different ways to do it. I'll show them both off. There's my way, which some people don't like. Even though, if you do it optimally, it is just as fast as the way that everyone else does it. And I personally find it a lot easier. Or you can do the way that essentially, like, Rock and basically all, like, the top contenders do. So, park your vehicle here. This is because you want it to despawn for the same reason as in the fastest boat. And then you can use a grenade to blow all these guys up, but I find it a lot easier, so just use the M60. Shoot this car, blow it up. Throw a grenade about half, like, distance. Grab your M4, run here, crouch. This is so you don't move in the cutscene. And then wait for the guys to pass you, and then snipe them off their bikes. Like that. Now you can just get on the bike and continue. The other way to do it is by lining up here with the tree, getting off, and then shooting them here as they start, before they drive away. But either way, if you get it, then good job. If you miss them, then you can use your sniper rifle to shoot them just down the road like this. You can reload your sniper rather than like bolt actioning like this. You can reload it really quick by double tapping F1. So, like this. So you can shoot a lot faster. Now, if you didn't make the snipe, and you didn't get the backup on the sniper rifle, then you can just drive by them, like go and drive them like this. But then because you finished the mission on a vehicle, you'll need to re-enter the bike. Otherwise it'll despawn when you get to Copland. But if you hit the snipe, like I did, you don't need to re-enter the bike. So now we just go this way, and we're going to go and start Copland. Copland is a huge run killer for beginners, but if you do everything correctly, then it shouldn't be too much trouble. So be sure to practice it a lot, and do what I do. It's very specific things that will help you a lot. So a thing to mention is that as soon as you start Copland, you're going to get 5 stars. The reason for that is because if you're caught in the mall during Copland without a cop uniform, you will get 5 stars. Now you may think to yourself, but I'm not in the mall, I'm at the mansion. But because we teleported out of the mall earlier and went into interior mode after shakedown, the game still thinks you're in the mall, as I mentioned before. So as soon as you start the mission, the game's like, he's in the mall without a cop uniform, 5 stars instantly. Now this is scary as fuck, because obviously like everyone's after you. But it's very useful, because my phone's going off again. But now I actually see what it is, so I can choose to ignore it while I'm recording. But yeah, so it's very scary, but it's very good, because in Copland, you have to get a wanted level, so you skip that part by just getting one immediately. Excuse me. So be sure to park again, the rose bushes, good reference. And now we're going to set up a save warp. This save warp is kind of bullshit. Essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to set up a warp, so as soon as we complete Cap the Collectors, which is the second to last mission in the game, we're going to teleport right back to the mansion. So I'm going to quickly answer my phone. Give me a second here. Yeah, so this is going to be a setup for a warp that essentially teleports you back to the mansion as soon as you complete Cap the Collectors. So, but there's a chance that it can not go off. Like, I've had it before, where on my first ever 54 pace run, I completed Cap the Collectors, set up the warp perfectly, and it didn't go off, and it cost me the run. So, again, this is, you can choose to go for this, but it's only, like, you can get a really good time without it, so if not, don't worry about it. So, glitchless call. And if you're going to go for the warp, or if you're not going to go for the warp, just chill out here. But if you are, then go and make a replay over the save icon, which is here. You can also grab the close to skip a fade if you're a super speedy boy, but don't worry too much about that as a beginner.
Later, Avery.
So, before you start this mission, know that, again, as I said before, you're going to get 5 stars as soon as you start the mission. Be sure to hold sprint, like I mentioned during Death Row, in order to get Lance to immediately get on the bike with you. And also, don't dick around with the camera too much, because you don't want to spawn too many unnecessary cops. So start the mission, immediately hold sprint, wait for Lance to come, now hold sprint, and now just be careful for any spike strips that are thrown down by the cops. But ideally, if you don't dick around with the camera too much, and you kind of focus on what's going on, then you'll be fine. Also, depending on the route that you take, a scripted cop car can spawn, so just be careful with that again. If you're ever in doubt, just follow what I do. That cop almost dicked me with the spike strip, as you can see. Even if you kind of get used to where they're going to be, they can sometimes still throw you off. Now hop in here, park the bike in the middle, and just wait. The 2 scripted cop cars, or the 2 scripted cops, as long as you have a wanted level of 2 stars or more, will come along. If one gets stuck, don't worry, they can't bust you. They can just knock you off the bike. But yeah, just try not to run around too much in the garage and get them stuck. And now go here. You don't want Lance with you, so just drive out the way. And then, ideally here, you would go and go ahead and grab the VCN helicopter. Like, you would drive all the way to the end, and then go in with the bike and shoot the guys. But if you lost it for whatever reason, then there is a backup right next to the garage. If I can see where I'm going because of all these bushes. There we go. You can run here from the garage, and you can just grab this Sparrow here to fly back in. So again, you don't need Lance with you. So if you're on the bike, you can just drive into the mall on the bike, and that will allow you to like tank all the bullets from the army guys that are going to shoot at you. But with the Sparrow, obviously you don't have the bike anymore. So these guys are going to shoot at you because of the 5-star thing, right? So you want to kill this guy because he has an M4. And then you can either hop in and immediately turn and shoot them. Or, if you want to play safe, you can go in the other side and kill them from the other side. It's completely up to you. Like, you can just kill them from here. Usually, I would go in here and shoot them from here and just turn and blast them both. But with only 100 HP, it's kind of risky because they can dick you really hard. So you plant the bomb, either way, whichever way you go, with the bike or not. And then if you did everything right, the police heli will still be here. Remember to hold sprint as well, as I mentioned before, to get Lance with you. If you want to be safe, you can kill the cops. So either the Sparrow or the VCN heli will be here, whichever one comes first. And then you just fly back. You don't need to deal with the 5-star cops or anything. Just fly back to the mansion. Nice and easy. And once you get to this marker, be sure to just stop dead in the marker. Otherwise, if you run around, Lance can kind of get stuck. But if you just stay still, it'll trigger the cutscene immediately. Sometimes here, your helicopter can despawn. If it does, don't worry about it. Just take a car instead. You don't need this helicopter anymore. It's just, we're going to be ditching it in a second. So now, this is the end game. The end game is very complicated compared to the rest of the game. Oops. Apparently, not hitting a tree is also really complicated. So, what you want to do is as soon as you park around here, take this call, and then go and make another replay over the Katana Rampage, which is just over here.
Busy trying to sort things out. You didn't give me a lot of support.
Which is just on this little crease here, where the little cross is on the ground. And then once we get here, there are 3 different ways you can start the rampage. And they all involve man dupes, but one of them is much more safe than the other one. So you can either go for what we call the Printworks buy, which is you buy the property, and then as the icon disappears, you can then press F3 and immediately start the rampage. Or you can use the save marker. I can't show the save marker right now, but I'll show it in a second. I think I can, actually, yeah, I can pause during this. Okay, perfect. I do have a save, so I can quickly show you it again. So that was the Printworks buy. It's not as difficult as it looks. All you need to do is, whoops, that was the wrong button. You need to, press your buy button for the property, and then as soon as the icon disappears, that's when you press F3. It's all just, you know, rhythm, timing, whatever you'd call it. But if you don't want to do that, because again, if you miss that and you mistime it, then it's 2 minutes down the drain, because you'll start the rampage without buying the property. Then the easiest way to do it is you can just buy the property and then save your game, which gives you like infinite tries in theory, and then just use the save marker. So jump into it, and then as the save marker disappears, then just press F3. It's much easier to time. So if you do that, that's too early. 2 minutes would usually be gone, but you can just load the save again. If you load a save, you'll lose your glitched traffic, which is obviously pretty bad. But there you go. And then you can just start it as normal. So I'm going to load the save one more time, just to see if I can get the print works by again and keep my glitched traffic, because, you know, I want to keep this as ideally in a run as possible, where you would have the glitched traffic. But yeah, if not, you can just glitch cars at any point. The most convenient time is while you're taking phone calls, obviously, but it's up to you.
Busy killing drug barons, busy taking over. Don't forget about us, Tommy, because I can assure you, I ain't
Try it again.
about you.
There you go, so that's the print works by again. So it's not too hard, and it's the quickest way to activate it. So regardless, as long as you get the rampage going and you're on mission 0, whether you use the save marker, mandupe it, or print works by, start the mission, look at the cutscene. Be careful of the gang wars, sometimes the gang wars can blow up the taxi. Go here, make a replay over the save marker. Then hop in the taxi, it teleports you to Malibu. You can hit this taxi and see if he gets out, like that, in order to take the taxi. But it's only like a second save, so if he drives away, then you can just go here and just run there instead. It's only about a second slower. You can grab armor there if you need it. There's also armor and health at the boat. I would recommend it as a beginner to get armor, because you can sometimes get stuck on the stairs here and kind of screw yourself over. But some people skip it if they're feeling super confident. And then make sure to take this route. A lot of new runners, I say, to take like their own routes and just don't, because this is way faster. And you're on a time limit here. You see the rampage timer. You want to get to the cutscene on the boat before that rampage timer runs out. If it runs out and you cancel the phone call and then enter the marker on the boat, you can softlock by just getting stuck in the cutscene. So just to be safe, as a rule of thumb, just get to this section. See, there's health there. There's armor behind me. Just get to this cutscene before the timer runs out. You can pre-aim this guy with the katana like that. Just hold left click if you don't want to run past him and kind of get dicked. Make sure to hold shift going into that marker, because you'll sprint in instead of walking. And then in this cutscene, hold S, D, shift, and then space, like that. And you'll hop all the way off. Now you can just get back on the bike. Careful of the cops popping your tires, etc. And now, because we're on mission 0 spilling the beans, we want to get a phone call in, but the 2 stars are blocking it. So, but conveniently, there's 2 cop bribes right here, which saves us pay and spraying. So just go here. And then as soon as you grab this last star, there we go. Then save warp by pressing F3 for your save marker. As long as you're in the district, you'll teleport the same kind of area. Walk in with the phone ringing. If you don't hear the phone ringing anymore, don't worry about that. It can sometimes go silent, but as long as you do everything like this, you'll be fine. Now hop on the bike. And then this next set of sections, this is going to skip the entire second half of the game, where Tommy usually builds up his empire and buys assets and stuff. This is a thing called an instapass. We're going to be instapassing the Cherry Poppers asset. So what you need to do is, now you have hit the courier on mission 0, all we need to do is get back in, go and enter the Cherry Poppers van, which starts distribution, which is the Cherry Poppers asset mission. And as soon as we enter it and get out, we'll just pass the mission. Now, in order to unlock Cap the Collectors, you need to have the Vassetti estate completed, which we did by completing Copland. We need to have Printworks completed, which we're going to do with Hit the Courier now. And you also need to have 5 other assets. So what we're going to do is, instead of buying assets and completing the missions, we're just going to instapass Cherry Poppers 5 times, which increases our asset counter to 7, which then allows us to unlock Cap the Collectors. Now, if you're wondering how the Instapass works, it's very technical. You could ask one of our, as we call, code monkeys, who are like technical experts on how it works. But I'm not going to go into that, because it's not really, it probably doesn't interest a lot of you. You probably just want to speedrun. You don't really give a shit why it works. Or you don't need to know how it works. No, that's right, yeah. You don't want to know why it works, just how it works. So I'm going to explain the how and not the why. But yeah, essentially all we're going to do is we're going to Start hit the courier on mission 0 with the phone ringing. And then we're going to go ahead, go here. You can either hop off the bike or not, it's up to you. And then go in here, you can hold W, Shift, and F in order to get in and out of the car fast enough. And then we're going to hop in, hop out, just like that. And then the phone will ring once we get off the bike. We'll insta-pass cherry poppers and we can do it again. Now that may seem very complicated, and it is, because there's quite a lot of steps involved. But essentially, all that you need to know... also, as to mention, if you don't want to dive off the bike and damage your bike, you can just brake here instead and park up like this. So get off the bike, hop in and out, hold W, Shift, and F to get in. Get on the bike before the phone rings, teleport, get out. And then the phone will ring, and then you insta-pass cherry poppers, and then bam, start again with the phone ringing. Now, there are loads of backups for this. So if you're concerned about not getting this correctly, then don't worry too much about it. All that you need to do is, so for example, let's say here, if I go and do the cherry popper insta-pass, get in and out again, and then the phone ring comes in. It's okay. Hold it by using your hold call button, get on the bike, then just warp again, hop in here, and then as you enter the cutscene, just let go. And then skip the cutscene, and then start again, and you're back on track. So that's a third insta-pass. Now there's even a backup for if you screw that up. So if you get here, and let's say you don't even, let's say you fall off so often that you don't even get to the van before it rings in time. Okay, so the phone's gonna ring. Cancel it. Note the in-game time that it cancels, which for me was 20:39, and then wait 20 seconds, and then take a couple of ways, like 17 seconds, or for example. Then hop in the van, and then time it so it comes out again. So 20:39. For me, 20 seconds is 59. So I'm going to get in about 56. Start. Get out again, and then the phone is going to ring, and then you can just hold it and carry on. So even if you don't make it to the van in time, there's a backup for that as well. So that's the fourth insta-pass. And now, if you somehow lose the phone call after the insta-pass, you may think, you know, is there really a backup for that? Yes, there is. There's a backup for everything. There's no way to possibly screw this up anymore because there are so many backups that people have found. So, let's do one last insta-pass. You need to do this 5 times, as I mentioned before. So, start the ice cream mission. And then the phone call comes in, but instead of holding it, let's say I cancel it. So we pass distribution, and now we have no phone call. What you want to do is you want to quickly go over to the police cheater. I'm going to quickly re-enter this bike to hope that it doesn't despawn. Then hop in, and then do the same as what you did for paramedic, but instead of right at the start of the game, but instead of doing it with the rampage, you're going to do it with the save marker. So just hold middle mouse, which is your submission vehicle, submission hotkey, whatever it is. Press F3. As soon as you warp, let go. That will then put you on mission 0 Vigilante. Hold Vigilante again. Get out. As soon as the phone rings, let go. Now you have an on mission 0 phone call again. And then you can start it. Cancel it, and then bam. That's another insta-pass, even if you lose the call. So I'm going to quickly go and check if my bike is still there, because I'm going to want to use it to show off the next mission optimally. If it isn't, then I'll just go and grab one really quick. Is it? No, okay. So I'll just go and grab a PCJ really quick, and then do another insta-pass, and then I'll show you once you've done 5. This is going to be 6 because I've been showcasing it. But once you do 5, then all you need to do is take the call that you've been holding and chaining the whole time, and then actually complete hit the courier. So there's an optimal way to do that, which I'll show you very soon. So this here is going to be my 6th insta-pass, but just assume it's the 5th as though you would in a run. I'm going to get out, hop in, let go of the call. But we're actually going to take the call this time. So we're just going to push the bike, take the call. Got my PCJ back. So this is a strat that you can do. It's fairly tight timing. If you're a beginner, I wouldn't recommend going for this, but I'm going to show it off because obviously this is kind of like an all-inclusive guide. So make sure that you fully take the call. Don't cancel it, because if you cancel this call, you can get the helicopter stuck when you go to start this mission. The helicopter that comes down will get stuck. So be very careful of that. Then you want to throw your bike away around here. Answer this phone call.
Tommy, we gotta talk about stuff.
What's the problem, Lance?
And then start skipping lines.
You're not welcome. Private business, you're not welcome. Private business, you're not welcome.
Tommy,
Private business.
Let's deal with a quick interruption there, but
Private business.
continue skipping lines.
Private business, you're not welcome. Private business, you're not welcome. Private
all the way
business,
until the
you're
end of
not
this phone
welcome.
call.
Private business, you're not welcome.
I hear you.
Private business, you're not welcome.
Lance.
Private business, you're not
Last
welcome.
one.
Private business,
There we go.
you're not welcome.
And now go and grab your bike again. Park it in a much better position since you're just kind of bailed off while we're waiting for the next phone call. Here is fine. And now just go and wait here. Be sure not to be too close to the property icon because it blocks phone calls. Wait for the call.
Tommy, it's me, Lance. Keep your mouth
Now
shut
go
there, Tommy,
in.
'cause I ain't got no time to talk. I ain't interested in what
Then make sure that you kill the women. Kill several so that you get a wanted level.
It's just that people patronize me all my life. Treat me like a little kid.
This.
My brother would do that.
Sometimes the plates can kind of dick around.
I gotta go.
And make sure you don't get dicked. Hop on, play a save replay, and then come back. So that wasn't a super optimal way of showing it, but I got interrupted halfway, so can't really do a whole lot about that. And then as soon as you get past this signpost, you'll be able to go ahead, warp, jump over this marker, so you don't accidentally start the mission again. And as soon as you finish the mission, the Captain Collector's call will come in. There you go.
Hey, oh, Tommy.
So the other way to do this, which is much more beginner friendly, I will quickly reset up my game to be set up again after the 5 instapasses, and I will show you that now.
Tommy.
So just done my last dupes again here, and this is going to be the hit the courier, which I would recommend you would go for if you were a beginner, rather than going for what we call lazy hit the courier, because lazy useless man found it. It's about 20 seconds slower, but it's much easier to do. There's a lot less things to remember. The only problem is that you can kind of be more susceptible to losing more time because of pop tires and stuff, but... Excuse me. It's up to you. If you don't like the one that I just did now, then you can try this one instead. It's much easier, much more noob-friendly, so to speak. So instead of throwing off your bike here, you would just pull into the compound with the bike. Hope you don't get your tires popped. Park it around here. Take the call. And skip a couple of lines.
What's the problem, Lance?
It's you, man.
Private business, you're not welcome. Private business,
But not
you're
nearly as many.
welcome.
Lance.
Private business, you're not welcome.
Tommy, I'm not your miss.
Private business, you're not welcome.
Lance.
Private
4 or
business,
5 is
you're
fine.
not welcome.
It depends how quickly you make it
I've
here.
done everything for you. You treat me like a fool. Don't
And then
do
you
that.
just chill.
Lance, I won't rip you off or stab you in the back, okay? Just take it easy. This is tough enough without you getting all emotional on me. Trust
Wait for the helicopter to be like on land. If you shoot it too early,
I hear you, Tommy.
then it will come down and obviously drown.
Be like this.
Also, make sure to shoot it from the front,
Do you hear me? Just relax,
because otherwise you can blow up the plates.
okay? I'll talk to you.
Kill him! Get the plate!
We need to grab the plates, and then get on the bike and get out of there. Play the save replay. Again, hope you don't get your tires popped. See, it's fairly risky. It's a lot more random, but it's a lot easier in terms of like skill ceiling. So you teleport, you have another phone call, you glitch it,
Tommy, it's me, Lance. Keep your mouth shut.
and then as soon as Lance says a certain line, which I'll point out,
Gotta say, why should I be? You don't care about me, do you?
it's after this next one.
Look after me a bit
So when he
better.
says,
Give me a
"Look, Tommy,
little
I'm sorry,"
advice, you know? Tommy, man,
now jump over,
I'm sorry.
and that will time it so the phone call will end pretty much just as
Treat me like a
you
little kid.
finish the
My brother
mission.
won't do that. Please, man, don't do that. I gotta go.
There we go. Then you finish the mission. And now you can just repark your bike. But this is where the time loss comes in, because you have to wait for the capture collector's call. But this gives you time to glitch traffic, should you need it. But there's not really a whole lot else to do here. Excuse me. Also remember to not be too close to the buy icon like I was there, because it'll block the call. And now, CTC snipe. This is where you need at least 3 or 4 glitch cars. Because if these guys don't get interrupted in the cutscene, they will get stuck. And you want them to be stuck, because if they don't move like this, then you can set up for the CTC snipe. Essentially all you need to do is not move, crouch down, right click and aim, and there's 2 different references for it. The first one is lining up. You see the, like here, the left part of the crosshair is lined up with the door. You want to go like just above the door frame. It's like that pixel could work. It's gonna, you know, it depends on where they are. Or that pixel. Or the other one is to line up the furthest left, like where you would line up with the door here. You see on, if you go even more to the left, there's like a vertical line on the left side. Line that up with the window at top. And then you want it to be just on the left of the middle of the second pane. So the first pane is that one, then that's the second pane. And then you right click and re-aim. So whichever one you want to do is up to you. But you just pick one, so this is the first reference. And then you want to do F1 sniping, but not too fast. Excuse me. But not too fast. Because if you shoot too fast, your bullet will despawn. So this is the second reference. And just get a rhythm. So if you go too fast like this, your bullets can despawn. But even if you pick the correct pixel, sometimes, like, depending on where they are, you can miss it. But usually you'll kill them by blowing up the bike, which is what I did there, in about usually about 10 shots is average. Sometimes it can take 20, just the way it is. I've done it in 3 shots before, which is incredible. And then from here, you just pull up on these second guys, snipe them down with the M4. And then do the same for the last 3 guys. The last 2 guys, excuse me. When it's raining, which, depending on what pace you're on, you can get rain during Cap the Collectors. Also, if you're bad like me, you can just, like, say if you miss these guys like I did, you can just drive by them. This guy's not cooperating, but you can just drive by them and continue. But yeah, so in rain, sometimes they can be in a different position, so you need to change pixels. Or if you're just not comfortable with doing the snipe, what a lot of people do is they go over and drive by them, but as long as you have the sniper rifle, it's actually much better to pull up here, like you start from the printworks, drive here, and then just pull up onto the road and snipe them from here instead, where you can actually see them. So just like snipe them from here, and then go and kill these guys, rather than driving all the way there. So, if you set up the warp that I mentioned before, with the save marker before the katana replay, and everything goes right, you should ideally teleport here, which will take you right to the mansion. You can bail off the bike and take the call, or you can stay on the bike if you're concerned about not teleporting. It's up to you. And then the call should come in, but obviously I cancelled it, explaining stuff.
We got big problems. Come down here right away.
But if you don't want to do the warp, then you just drive here. Just back out really quick. There you go. You would just drive, pull up the bike on the wall on the other side and just hop over from here. And then just come in. Let's cancel this call because I don't need it. But yeah, now you just start the last mission. For this cutscene, make sure you don't fucking mash. A lot of people do that. Just press once to skip the first cutscene, once to skip the second cutscene. If you mash, it will get stuck. And then don't touch your mouse whatsoever. If you move the camera or like cause it to shake, then guys will start spawning. But if you don't touch it at all, for the next 60 seconds until Lance spawns, nothing will spawn. So you can just chill. But 60 seconds from the mission start is when Lance spawns and you need to kill him. And then 120 seconds from mission start, as long as Lance is dead, Sonny will spawn that you also need to kill. And then that's it. GG. There are two different ways you can kill Lance. One of those is by chasing him to the rooftop and just gunning him down there, which is kind of like the intentional part. Or you can just like punch and chainsaw him right at the start. It's up to you. It's completely preference. You can like punch him here and then just chainsaw his ass down and now he's dead. Or if you don't do that, you can chase him here, here, all the way up the stairs. And then just pull out your M4, your M60. Crouch, there'll be some barrels here so you don't get shot a lot, and just kill him here. And then head back down. You can jump down the middle of the stair set. There's armor and everything in here. Nice weapons if you need to heal. But this mission gives you a lot of healing. It fully heals you at mission start. It fully heals you when Lance spawns, and it fully heals you when Sonny spawns. So you shouldn't need too much. But if not, there's also health and armor here. And then by the time the 2-minute timer starts, just make sure you're at the top of the stairs. I like to use the M60 to clear all these guys out because it kills them really quickly. And now you're just waiting for Sonny to spawn, which again, 2 minutes. And then as soon as you kill him and lose control, that's GG.
Now I'm gonna make you pay. You still don't get it, do you? I own you, Tommy. Those 15 years were mine to spend. Get him, boys.
You'll kill him down with the M60. And then that's time there. So, congratulations on completing your first speedrun of the game. I hope you have good luck with your runs. If you do have any questions about the run, because it is fairly complicated as far as like if this is your first speed game, then be sure to hit me up on Discord, Twitter, or anything like that. Twitch, YouTube, you can comment on this video. And yeah, just be sure, like, don't be afraid to ask. We have a GTA community Discord where you can come in and ask questions about the run. If you don't want to message me directly. And you can speak to all your favorite runners, discuss strats, that kind of thing.
Tommy, I never liked that guy.
Yeah,
Okay?
it's this should hopefully be a more comprehensive guide
I'm glad you took him out.
when it comes to like all-in-one guides.
From up north either.
And it should hopefully have less editing mistakes and a bit more clean gameplay, since I'm much better at the game than I was when I made the guide the first time.
Does that mean what I think it means? Tommy,
So yeah, thanks for watching. Again, any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Be sure to check the description where I'll leave everything you need to set up this game and get it going. Or any kind of, resources of information that you'll need. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
I know. Ain't it just beautiful?